I've been asked really to give a little talk on AI. I am a long-standing tech person. I've only been in the industry probably 7 or 8 years now. My history is that you guys are all using my software without even knowing it. If you use eBay, Amazon, I was involved in the early days of those companies. If you ship parcels and have a QR code on your parcel, that was a company I worked for many years ago who then licensed that software to the Royal Mail, sold it to the Royal Mail, and they now license that to the rest of the world. So that's my history. I would like to talk to you today about data. Data is the underlying framework for AI. A lot of people will understand the end result of AI. People are now getting into the prompting of AI. Before too long, I'm sure there will be prompt courses at most of the universities in the UK. But to understand AI, you need to go backwards, and you need to understand the history of data, really. Data is the foundation for everything that extrapolates from it. Many of you will already understand this. This is quite an old, I'm not reinventing the wheel here. This is data 101 at university. From data comes information. Information is extrapolated from your data source. And information then allows knowledge to be formed. And where we are today is we are at this wisdom section. We, as human beings, are not necessarily extrapolating the data, the knowledge from the information anymore. We're able to use tools to do that for us. And AI sits between the wisdom and the knowledge area there. So the reason I show you this is because there's a fundamental need to understand this data layer before your company or your organization can utilize AI properly. So AI has been around a long time. This is, of course, in 1951. I wasn't around then. But I was around in the 90s when large language models first started to develop. I'm proud to say that the northwest of England has been very active in the establishment of the internet and the establishment of essentially early data processing, the early internet. Databases became the big thing in the 1960s. My mum worked on the very first computer that the military used. Now, that might sound attractive, it might sound scary, but the truth of the matter is it was an accountancy application that just paid people salaries. From there, of course, data management became a thing. The first ARPANET was the basics of the internet. The 1980s, data warehousing and knowledge management became a thing. And as we move into the mature phase of data, the internet age, the first cloud systems were developed. So I, 25 years ago, was selling cloud. We didn't call it cloud then, we called it containerization, and that was a part of a server hosted. So it was the same principle, but it was your own private environment in that cloud. Now, this is where it starts to get really sexy. Data science has always cared about that data layer and how you take information from that data layer. But machine learning is the thing that could never happen because the machines were not fast enough, they weren't clever enough, and ultimately, the data scientists and the machine learning people were not working together. In the 2010s, that changed. They came together, those two areas then brought us big data and large language models. Now, large language models, I'm a linguist, so I care about how language is formed. Data is just a language. Data, large language models, everything in AI is based on large language models. But large language models can't exist without big data. The bigger the data pot, the more rich your AI experience is going to be. This is really important. There's stuff here that we've not even thought about yet. Where we are today is a very different picture to where we're going to be tomorrow. There's lots of stuff that you or I haven't even thought about. Lots of clever ideas that are still being formulated. The net result of this, and the reason I've chosen that picture there, is because people are afraid of AI. What this has enabled is scary for a lot of people in this industry. Marketeers, salespeople. I have friends in the legal profession who check their contracts with AI. I have friends in the medical profession who use AI to develop drugs. AI is already here, and it's already based on those large language models. But bear in mind, we are going to produce more data in the next 10 years than humanity has ever produced. So those large language models are coming, and they're getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And the reason I take you there is because I suppose we've got a long history of data. We started writing things down so that pictures, data, could be stored. This is stored data. This tells a story. This is able to be translated or interpreted by anybody who speaks that language. And again, I'm a linguist, so this all goes back down to language models. If we start here and work forward, humanity has not really progressed in the way it stores data up until the last 30 or 40 years. So moving on. The way that we store data is to normalize it, to store it, and to distribute it. So we go back. That's normalized data. It's stored on the tablet, and it can be distributed to somebody else. So that, today, is where large language models are. I relate this now to the print industry. I've added some words there. Your data needs to be secure. It needs to be scalable. And indeed, from our perspective, usually it's job data. Job data is the biggest problem we have in this industry. And that's not just inkjet, that's everywhere. Heidelberg talks a different language to Canon. Canon talks a different language to Ryobi, and so on, and so on, and so on. So there is no normalization of data in our industry. And that's what I hope to fix. We all have job data. We all understand job data needs to come into our organization somehow. Is that the same data as shop floor data? Is that the same data as your procurement data or your warehousing data? Are these things separate? Or is that all connected? I'm asking you questions because I don't know the answer. What about billing? What about auditing? What about all these other data pots that you have within your organization? How connected are they? Data, to be effective in any organization, needs to be unified. It needs to be one language that you speak. So that when you take a job in, that very same data can then be utilized. And it can be utilized with every piece of process that you need to go through to get to your end result. There are process deviations, there's color correction, there's press, there's another web-to-print feedback, of course, because data shouldn't always go one way. As you're developing your data models internally, one level of data should attract all of those processes to work on the data, not to provide different data, but to work on that data in one language model. Now, of course, you get to the end, you've got your post-press. Your post-press, this could go on. This could go into shipping. This could go wherever. My point with this slide is purely that if you have one consistent data pathway through your organization and you normalize the data that's coming in, then everything else flows smoothly. And this is so much more efficient than working with lots of different data pots. As we move forward, your data must have semantic and structure. Semantics, what does it mean? Structure, where is it? We need to be able to structure our data, we need to be able to find our data, and we need to be able to understand our data. Most print shops in the UK, in fact, Germany as well, I have a bit of experience there, they don't. So, what Zaikio has done is we've gone back and we've said, right, let's build this. Let's build a platform that normalizes the data for every process point within the print industry. That applies to inkjet just as much as it does to Heidelberg, all of the big litho players, the digital players. They all want to speak the same language. But commercialization stops it. So what we've done is we've moved away from that, and we've said, no, we'll formalize this language, if you like, of the print industry, and we'll lay it down into a physical platform. We will put a single access here, a single sign-on, basically, so that you, therefore, can access not just the language model, but everything else that uses it within. So we're moving away from concept into an actual product that helps the entire industry communicate better. So semantics and structure are the two fundamental things that a good language model needs. A large language model is the fundamental piece of AI. The data science on top, the way that that language is questioned, is the art of AI. But the bones of AI lies in the data layer. And it is everywhere. So the question I have for the audience is, what next? Some of you will be marketeers, you'll be in sales, some of you will be machine vendors, software vendors. What next for you guys? If you're not talking the same language as everybody else, what next for you? Are you threatened by AI? Is it an opportunity? I'm here to ask the question, I'm not here to give you the answer. But I am here to encourage you to look at it. Our industry is falling behind in terms of AI. Let me explain. All of these AI tools existed on the 17th of October 2022. By the 24th of October, there were many, many more. Since then, we're now exactly a year later. There are 2,500 of them. It's coming, ladies and gentlemen, and it's coming thick and fast. However, this is a frightening statistic. You can imagine 9% of respondents were already using it. 9%. So in legal, it's 30%. In developmental businesses, so more specifically around medicines and so on, it's actually been used daily. So the print industry is falling behind already in terms of AI. And that's partially because its data structures are all over the place, but it's also partially because we're afraid. And my encouragement to you would be, don't be afraid of it. The US government has just issued, the US president has just issued a set of parameters that they will work by in the US. We've just had a major AI conference in the UK where, okay, they've not gone down the legal route yet, but there will be some regulation behind it, I'm pretty sure. My encouragement to you guys is don't be one of the 12%. Don't be one of the people that is afraid of it, because this will benefit your business. AI isn't perfect, okay? So we still have the opportunity to embrace it while it's growing. The more we interrogate it with print-related questions, the more it's going to learn about print. AI struggles with hands, look. I mean, each of these images is AI created, but it still can't do hands. It's had a few years to learn hands, but it still can't do it properly. Human beings are still cleverer than AI. It's because we understand what hair and teeth and ears and hands should look like. AI doesn't, but it will learn. And as we interrogate AI, it learns from us. So don't be afraid of it, because the print industry will move forward if we interrogate it with the right questions. AI will never be perfect. It will still require a human being. A human being may not necessarily go down the route of marketing in the way that it used to market. It may be that you become a prompt engineer. In fact, I lay money on the fact that every university in the country will be doing a a AI prompt course. That will replace the traditional marketing courses, or it will be a part of a traditional marketing course. So that's all I've got to say for today. I hope that's been challenging for you. I hope at least you understand the history of AI and can start to challenge yourselves. Embrace it, it's coming, and I believe it's going to be great for the industry.